Ich bin hier im Hardrock Café in Hamburg, wo eine echte Rock-Legende ihr neues Album präsentiert. Bei mir Suzi Quatro mit ihrem neuen Album No Control. Suzi, 46 years have passed, if my math is right, since your very first record in 1973.
Yes, since I had a hit, but I've been in the business for 55 years.
Exactly, but your first hit record.
First hit was 1973.
Yeah, so a little bit of time has passed.
Yes.
How have you changed during this period? Are you still the sassy woman wearing leather pants on stage?
Yes, I am. That's exactly what I do. If you look at the album cover, the new album cover, I have gone around the block and back again, obviously gathering different things along the way, honing my entertainment skills and blah, blah. And now I've just kind of come full circle. Now I'm able to do, which I love, my 2-hour shows. No support, just me.
Just you?
Just me, with a full 9-piece band. I love it. I love doing that.
Is there ever gonna come a time when you're gonna say, okay, I'm just like in Lethal Weapon, the movie, I'm too old for this shit, and you're gonna stop playing on stage, or?
I don't know. I love what I do so much, genuinely love it. I took a lifetime to learn it. The people still want to see me. I still enjoy it. Why should I stop? I'm going to do this till I can't do it anymore. You have to know the time to walk away, you know, to put your cards down and walk, but it's not yet. I'm 10 years younger than the Stones, for Christ's sake, you know? I'm a baby.
So you're going to do it rock till you drop?
Mm-hmm.
Or
hopefully just before that.
Yeah.
rock till I nearly drop.
So you haven't recorded as much in the past years, but you haven't been lazy at all. You toured quite a lot, I've seen. But in your years of touring, is there one very special memory that comes up when you think about the years on the road?
Oh, just so many. I have always, by the way, released Back to the Drive in 2006, produced by Andy Scott. 2011 was produced by Mike Chapman in the Spotlight. 2 years ago, Quatro, Scott, and Powell. You know, me, Andy Scott, and Don Powell from Slade. And now the new album. So I have always released, but I've always worked as well. Sticks out, the first one that came to mind was my 50th birthday, which I celebrated in front of 22,000 people at the Verbuna in Berlin. So it's pretty cool.
That's not too bad.
If you're going to turn 50, you might as well make it public, you know. I know. It's so many good gigs, you know. My Australian ones are just beyond. They're so loud. And the gig I just did in Canada, 5,000 people, and I hadn't played there in like 25 years. I just stopped going there for some reason, so I wasn't sure how the response was going to be, and I was a little bit nervous, which is not like me. And I came out to a standing ovation. And instead of coming out like Suzi Quatro, I came out going, what? It was hilarious. So they said, Suzi Quatro, and usually you're like that. I was looking at all the people with my mouth hanging open, and then I captured it back. But, so many highlights, so many years.
And a special memory of the German audience. You live in Germany, so you seem to have a special bond with Germany, did you?
Yeah, sure. I've been coming here since 1973. I don't live here. I'm married to a Hamburg man for 25 years now, and we have a home in Hamburg, and we have a home in England. I'm mainly in England. He's mainly here, and we go back and forth. But in fact, I'm doing the gig on May the 6th, if I can pronounce it, Leitzhalle. And I tell the story, shall I? Because it's funny. That was my first ever show in Germany in 1973. And my eventual husband was sitting in the audience. Of course, I didn't know him yet. And he was sitting with his girlfriend. And he was sitting with the promoter of the show and his wife. So he was sitting with his girlfriend. The promoter's wife was his next girlfriend. And his only wife was on the stage. It's a great story, isn't it? Oh, that makes him look like the Hamburg stud, you know. They weren't all at one time. They were separate entities, you know.
Also kind of, to some extent, related to this, and the 70s rock cliche, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. How much were you part of that sex, drugs part? Did you take part in any of that?
You mean that craziness? You know, sure, I've had my moments. I've done a few room wrecks in my time. I've had a hangover. You know, I'm not a druggy person at all, never have been. My father, who was a musician his whole life, he gave me my attitude to the business. And he told me quite young, this is your job, this is your profession. If you can't get out there and give 100% of you, don't go out there at all. And that's the attitude I've always had. So I don't need all the, I get high off my gig.
So you don't need any other before or after the gig?
Oh, after, absolutely. I hate the feeling when you, because I give so much, when you come off the stage, there's, I call it the dead zone. And you kind of go, it's, yay, and then, whew. So instead of crashing down, I ask for a glass of champagne as I come up. Hand me the glass of champagne, and then you go, you hit each floor. Instead of going from the height to the basement, you go down each floor, so it's much nicer. Then I do need my glass of champagne, yes.
That's very good, because after, you know, I play bass in a band, or I used to play...
adrenaline, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, even playing just in front of like 400 people or 200...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. After 2 hours of show, you are, you know, you're exhausted on the one hand, but also thrilled and leveled up like hell. But you mentioned your father, who gave you the advice about the business. And what do you think? How did the scene, the rock and roll scene, change since the 70s?
Oh wow! I think it's changed a lot. In fact, one of the tracks on the new album, I have to say, because it's about this, it's called Easy Pickings. And I wrote it about the effect of talent stroke reality shows on the music business. I don't think it's been a positive effect. I just don't think so. Of course, they're entertaining, and I watch them, who doesn't? But they have promoted getting into the business for fame and fortune, and this is not what it's all about. I got in the business at a gut level because I needed to play music. You know, that's the right attitude. If fame and fortune came with it, that was a bonus, but not the motivation. And they have made fame and fortune the motivation. So as entertaining as they are, they have something to answer for, I think. You don't even remember the people who have won when they've won. So it says it all, doesn't it? Yeah.
You're still here and rocking the stages throughout every country, pretty much.
Did you read my schedule, did you?
Yeah, it is massive.
I know.
How do you do it? Because honestly, I was, you know, in my early 20s, we played quite a lot. And maybe we did 3 shows at one weekend. And I was pretty much done after that.
You gotta be kidding.
How
you gotta be kidding.
You know,
you were very lucky to do 3 shows in one weekend.
How did you?
I started at 14 in the band, my first band. We did 5 shows a night, 45 minutes on and 15 minutes off. So to do 1 show after I was famous was like, wow, only 1 show. I have a lot of stamina from my training over 55 years. I can do my 2-hour show, which is with the bass guitar, which weighs as much as me. It's heavy. It's a Fender Precision. With my leather on, hot, lights boiling, and jogging for 2 hours and singing, right? And I can get to the end of the show and do a ballad with the piano and not be out of breath. So,
you don't do any workout, do you? You don't need to.
No, but that is my workout unless I'm not gigging. And when you're not gigging, you have to keep the level of fitness up here. So I will do gym, jog, yoga. I keep myself up there. You have to. I keep the fitness at that level that I am able to do my shows.
Let's go back a little step again to the 70s. And the rock business used to, and actually still is, kind of dominated by men. I'd say so, unfortunately. But yeah, because you did it so extraordinarily in a unique way to fight your way through that male thing.
Here we go. I have my own opinion about this. First of all, as the history says, as the truth and the timeline is, you can't rewrite history. I was the first female rock and roll musician to lead a band and play an instrument, to have success. Not the first one to have success, okay? It hadn't been done. And it was a good 6-7 years before anybody came after me. But saying that, I never thought of me, and I still don't, as a female musician. I don't do gender. I'm just a musician.
Just a musician.
Just a musician. I always have been. And I never got a hard time from any guys, only because I took me seriously. So, you know, what you give out is what you get back. So I was just like, hello, you know, in your face. So it never bothered me. I never ever considered what you could do as a man and a woman. I've always been a little bit of a tomboy. I have my line. One of the guys, do what I do, but here's my line, and don't cross it. So I have my female line. But as a musician, I'm just a musician.
But I think that's a really rock and roll attitude to say, you know, this is the point where stand no further, and you know, here I am, just as you said, in your face. This is me.
If you cross that line, you only cross it once. Sweet smile.
Dangerous.
I think I'm okay now. So much better eye to eye. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, what also could be very rock and roll, or I assume is very rock and roll, your background in Detroit, Rock City, of course. How did that affect you and your taste in music and your way of approaching music?
I'm very much, in my heart and soul, I am Detroit. It's my spiritual, not only was I born and raised there, it's my spiritual home. Grew up with all the bands. We all played gigs together, you know, your Iggy Pops, your MC5, your Ted Nugent, your Alice Cooper, Bob Seger, everybody. We played all the same shows. I was also a Motown fanatic, so I also got that Jameson bass in the way I play, very much so. I've also got my love of backing vocals, because Motown was really bass, drums, and backing vocals. When I listen to Motown records, I don't sing the lead vocal, I sing the backing vocal. So clever. Anyway, it's in my heart and soul. Like my friend Alice said on my documentary, Detroit's in my DNA. And that's it. It's an attitude, it's an edge, and it's an energy. And that's, you just described me. I'm Detroit.
Just Detroit. Perfect. And now you already mentioned it, you live part-time Hamburg, part-time Essex, is that correct?
Yeah.
Essex. How do you like it, being here or just in Europe right now, or especially in Germany?
Yeah, I like Hamburg very much. I mean, we've been together 25 years, and we have a very, you know, it's mainly my husband's home, but, you know, our Hamburg place. And it's a great city, this. It's a nice combination of the docks, great shopping, great restaurants, and like the forest where the house is, you know. So it's a beautiful, beautiful city. I think it's my favorite city in Germany, followed by Berlin, followed by Munich.
You had quite a lot of huge hits. You mentioned that before. Why you were so busy at all? What do you think? What's your favorite? Your own personal favorite hit
That's
you
so
have?
hard. It's so hard to pick one out. You know, I've had so many good hits. I would go with two. Can the Can. It's hard to beat the first hit, first number one, and then probably.
How did you feel when you recognize? Okay, wow, that's going somewhere.
When you first hit number one, my first thought was that 9-year apprenticeship was worth it. It was everything I hoped and dreamed. Fantastic feeling. She's in Love with You, different. And If You Can't Give Me Love was a ballad. So I enjoyed, I enjoyed doing a ballad. That was good.
Yeah, finally, now you got your new record, No Control. You're standing on the cover like, again, here I am, your statue poster, which you could also just, put in copper or bronze and just put it into Detroit, right?
Yeah, you could. That could be a statue, couldn't it? It's good. Yeah, I'm real proud of this album.
Why? Why? How did you produce it? Well, what part of you is going in there?
It's all of me. This is an artist who's been around for 55 years, who has got a very strong image that's never died. She's gone around the block and come back home. And I've had total creative freedom on this. There was nobody saying, sing it like that, play it like that. Nobody. I did it with my son, which was unexpected. He just said, I want to write some songs with you. I said, okay. And he said, I want to remind you of who you are. And I thought, that's an interesting thing to say. And he pushed my Suzi Quatro buttons. And we did one song. It worked. We did another song. We were making demos first. All of a sudden, I said, we're making an album. He said, I know. Then it got serious. And I didn't, I said to everybody in the studio, the three people, it was a guy sitting at the board, Mike, producing, Richard on guitar, me on bass. And I said, whatever we do on this album, this is precious. It's never been done before. We don't have any plans. We don't push a song left, right, here. We let each song come and speak its own language. So every song has a voice, which is what everybody's reacting to. They're saying all the same thing. They're all saying, wow, didn't expect that. And oh my God, it's all you, yet it's diverse. So like I said, it's everything I've learned along the way, but come back home. And it says it what it is, no control, no control. And the single, first single, No Soul, No Control, says, you won't get my soul. You can't control me. I love you, I'll be with you, I'll be your friend, but you can't take control. It's my mantra of my life. I really mean it. You can see I mean it. You can't control me. Nobody can. The person has not been born that can control me.
I would imagine working with my family, that would be chaos and mayhem.
Well, don't forget, I started off working with my sisters way back in the... So that kind of gave me a little thing. Then my ex-husband was my guitar player. So I've kind of been used to these things. It was Richard, my son, who had the funny thing with it. Because we went in to do the first demo, which was Don't Do Me Wrong, first song. And he's sitting there playing. I'm sitting here playing. Microphone's here. We're, running it through. And he went, oh my God. I said, what's the matter? He said, all of a sudden I'm in the studio with Suzi Quatro. And I went, yes, and? In other words, you're not my mother anymore. And I said, get used to it. I'm working. And it is, I guess it's a different thing. When you put on your work face, it's different. But I really enjoyed the whole process. I didn't know we had that in him.
Thank you very much, Suzi Quatro.
My pleasure.
Am 29. März erscheint das neue Album No Control und im Mai geht's dann überall kräftig auf Tour. Suzi Quatro.
Be there. Thank you.